competition. They're all bastards. It's hard. It's really hard, and it's really hard to keep attendance at residence groups. So that's one hard thing to say. This is worthwhile, and something will happen at the end of it.
And there is also a huge difference between blocks. So there's
a mistrust of external agencies. There's a mistrust. So it's basically 16 blocks, I think, more or less broken into 5 blocks of 3, and then each block is separate. So there's like almost like little communities, and one group of blocks won't trust another one, and yeah. So there's like those blocks only want their own things. And then there's I guess there's 2 football clubs, but there's one football club with underage teams, so they're like almost another group, but their thing is the pitch, and they might be annoyed. They might perceive that residence groups only want housing conditions improved and aren't talking about the pitch enough, even though the residence group might be talking about the pitch, but there's just a lack of interaction. Or
it's kind of it's historical. I mean, it's really something that goes back to in ages, because also Gail was talking, about when her mother and her father were just, working with the previous resident group, like, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And were already fights among different blocks.
Yeah. It's probably typical if an area...
It's typical, and she said that also nowadays she has observed a general lack of trust and lack of interest in the community.
Yeah.
Not just by new residents, but also by people who have been there for like 20, 30 years.
But I'm sure you found that, like in other studies, I think the less resources that an individual or a person gets, the more the kind of thing of us versus them is. So Oliver Bond versus everyone. And they're all scapegoated and they're all painted with the same brush by the media. And then, like within Oliver Bond, our blocks against the rest of the community. And they have playgrounds, we don't. They have this, we don't. And then within blocks, our family against the rest. It's because they haven't been given enough.
Yeah.
So it's very
surviving
us versus them. And then there's even a thing about like non-nationals getting flats, and then it's that wider us versus them as well. And it's just because the community has been underserved. There's just not enough going in, so it's a scramble for scarce resources, I guess.
I've never heard it's a scramble. It's like the eggs.
It's like scrambled egg, but scramble is also like to kind of scurry and try to...
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So yeah, I think at a very simple, it can be simplified as that, not the rivalry, but the kind of competition and lack of trust.
On a very few resources available.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is more competition, more fighting. Okay. Thank you. About the media campaign, we discussed already how the group that participated actively arrived to the point of the media campaign, and now what's next?
What's next?
Because I won't be here, but I have to talk about what is going to be next.
Yes, so following the media, I guess around the time of the media campaign, Liz took on the role of secretary. So Liz has been supported to identify all the stakeholders that the whole group were, but I guess she's the most active one. And so like all the, I guess, politicians, all the Dublin City Council have been communicated with, like with all of the asks. And like over the next maybe 3 months we'll see what comes out of that.
Okay.
And then following that,
so she's creating a list and contacting all the
so the list has
bodies.
been created and everybody's been contacted
already.
Yeah, I guess when some people reply, then it widens the list and there's more people to contact, and there's looping all the contacts together to put more vigilance on
because this
people's
is
performance.
also part of the network map that I had in mind. Okay, I will see it. Okay.
And then things come out of it, so like not the workload, but it just grows. So that after one of the main stakeholders, obviously all of Oliver Bond residents. So the residents group communicated with every household in the block afterwards, and said, this is what happened last week, this is why it happened, these are the next steps, if you'd like to get involved, this is how you do it, and if you have any conditions in your flat and you consent to sharing the information sold in that, please do that. So one of the next steps is, I think we have maybe 20 or 30 residents reported really bad conditions in their flat. So we've identified an environmental justice legal team who are willing to, I guess, assess and potentially represent residents with bad conditions. So it's not just that the next step isn't just saying it's unacceptable and building on the little bit of data that we have. It's
but this is my idea of the network map. It's something that I've been thinking for quite a while, since the beginning of CORM, but now it's different, and because you have a purpose.
This will be very different.
Yeah, and okay, I can't explain very well. I'll explain later when we do the exercise. Okay. Sorry. Okay. And then can you also mention that you got to be part of the housing meeting that would be held in September?
Yeah. So I guess the media event was the media event was just saying the conditions are bad, but the report was actually published in March. So it was just kind of creating noise and trying to get a relevant audience. So following the media event, the residents group contacted both local government and national government and said, listen, this report was done in March, we don't really have faith that anything is being done. Can we come and present this to you with a relevant expert, with the author of the paper, who's Robert Emmett, and with a couple of residents to directly express the lived experience of the conditions, and also with, this is the new thing, this is the exciting bit, can Dublin City Council CEO and Deputy CEO is also the main housing person be invited to attend and respond directly, so the whole thing isn't disjointed.
Yeah.
So the Oireachtas Housing Committee, which is the main government, people within the government, so that I guess it's the best kind of audience to get for this.
The housing committee is a national body.
So
it's in the government. Because I never get to understand the level of policy intervention here.
Yeah, I to be honest, I don't really understand. So once you're elected to Parliament, to government, the Oireachtas is both houses of government, the Senate and the...
Okay, yeah.
But once you're elected to government, there's also an expectation that you sit on different committees within government.
Okay, yeah. We call table of something.
Yeah, so it's the exact same. So the housing committee would be made up of several...
It's a housing committee for the entire country.
It's a housing committee that I guess, for the entire country. So they consider, there'll be several members, several TDs like Owen O'Brien, ask the chair to invite us. So the chair is going to invite us and give us a date. So several parliamentarians, TDs, Parliament Ireland, and the chair.
Yeah, because the country is so little.
The country is so little, so they would.
Okay.
I guess they would consider different things, and then they would make